Okay, welcome to episode number 4 of For the Record podcast. I'm your host, Rhoni.
And I'm Danielle.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
And we're
starting to warm up just a little bit.
just a little bit, and we're in episode 4 episodes. I actually looked at the analytics. There's about 38 new listeners every podcast.
What?
So we have about 48 listeners in total. So
Really?
48 listeners that are back for every podcast.
Interesting.
And the second podcast had about 38 up front. So 38 listeners the first 2 podcasts, and then we added 10 more. So 48.
Just gonna say, what is that, an increase of our expectations by 400%? 500%?
Ginormous increase.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
you know
my.
what? When we started this, what did we say? 5 people. 5 people. Then it was always something we could refer our client list to if they were like, "Oh, do you have any tips and tricks?" Yeah, hit the podcast. For some.
That's basically it.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Good. Yeah, so that was a goal, 5, and now we're at 48. So hopefully we keep the 48.
It's like a 400% increase. I don't even know.
It is.
I can't do the math.
It's about 450%.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
450%.
You know what? Like I said, we started this for the 5 people that wanted to listen to it, for ourselves, to check off something off the bucket list, and also just to have something, that we could always we could always refer to our client list if they said, "Hey, do you have any tips or tricks?" Yes, we do.
So if you're not subscribed already, again, on YouTube at Trident Films / For the Record podcast playlist, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, that's where you can listen to. So if you like it, do share it with anybody you know is getting married or getting engaged.
Well, what?
We're fun. We're fun people.
We absolutely are. Our giveaway.
Yes, that was.
Okay, we got high counts there.
Oh, that is true. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That
there
was
you go.
a
little bit of an
massive.
increase.
That was exciting. That was so fun.
I know. You know what? Doing a giveaway, and we always think about how much you want to give into something. Go bigger than your expectations.
100%.
Do a big giveaway. Get back to the community. Get back to your clients. Get back to the industry, and it's going to be so much fun. Just
For
saying,
sure,
that was
for
our
sure.
experience.
Nope, it was good. So yeah. So if you're, thanks for listening. If you're listening to it, if you're the first time listener, hi. Thanks for dropping in and listening to it too. But today we got some interesting topic that I want to talk about. Me and Danielle were DMing last night, and she sent me things about what are the budgets of a vendor that you can expect these days. So and then I saw a post earlier that day, and then I said, listen, look, we can talk about this. Absolutely. So we're going to talk about what the state of wedding industry looks like
And
in
just budget
2022
in general, not just vendor.
of budget in general
Yeah.
and what it looks like. So we're just going to talk about, so we're going to pull up a slide.
Mhm.
Jamie, pull up the slide. I meant Silas, pull up the slide too. It's Joe Rogan over here.
Okay, so our topic today is just budgets and how
Inflation will affect 2020 wedding planning.
Yeah. So where the prices are going up, why they're going up.
Listen, again, COVID caused it for sure. But we were already from an economical perspective, we were already in the direction coming towards
in general.
this sort of state.
Yeah.
And COVID just accelerated it. Massively.
We are in this process of building the house. So I see it there too. The inflation of everything. Everything just costs so much more.
Yeah.
Right.
And what
Okay.
did lumber cost last year? Something stupid.
We chose not to build our house last summer. It was on the docket to do. And the difference in building this year versus next year was $45,000. It was ridiculous. We would have never got that back out.
Damn.
So it's not just the wedding industry that's affected. It's multiple industries. But today
Right.
we're going to focus on one.
Wedding industry. So the slides here are very interesting, and they talk through parts of what the wedding industry is going through right now. So it says here, again, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. But if you're listening, we've all seen the headlines and noted the increase of prices at gas stations and grocery stores. No wedding vendor can continue to charge the same because of this inflation, and the wedding industry is going through it right now.
Yeah,
right?
the wedding industry is not exempt. Right?
100%. So here's a vendor breakdown of prices
So venue costs have went up overall anywhere from 20 to 40%.
That's crazy though. That's
Yeah.
how crazy.
Why?
40%.
Yeah. Why is that?
Like again, venues in general have been one of the hardest hit because think about it. Everything shut down. The first thing that to be shut down was events.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And events need a space to be hosted, and venues were the number ones to be stopped.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
they laid off staff, they cut off, supply chains everywhere.
And then
now everything is back up, but it's back higher demand than what it was before, right?
well, you lay off staff, they go on CERB or they find a new job. Then who do you have? So
100%,
you're
'cause
absolutely going to hit
you
staff shortages.
Or that is a massive part of it too,
Or
right?
you're going to have to pay people more to come.
And now they're biting into their bottom line, and there's so much that goes on too, right? So you realize, okay, why is this costing more? Then you understand, okay, staff shortages, supply chain issues. They can't get, if you want specific chair for your wedding, the style of chair, or maybe a specific type of menu, like the food and everything matters,
Yeah.
right?
Well, if you hit the grocery store, think about that. You hit the
Oh.
grocery store when it comes to food, and we've all seen the prices go up. There's some sort of like controversies about like limes and avocados or something. I don't even know.
Avocados are always expensive, just saying.
I try to splurge and get the extra for the cavo. I save for that.
Need for the guac.
Okay.
Need for the guac.
Okay, back on topic here. Yeah, okay. So supply chain issues have a lot to do with your food. So that's even catering as well.
And
Things are
that's the
just
next
costing-
slide, actually.
Yeah, actually.
Talk about
things-
catering
yeah.
or rentals.
Yeah, go back for us there for a second. Okay, so yeah, high demand. Also, too, I want to talk about this really quickly, which has everything to do with every single slide, is the fact that everyone put off their weddings for 1 to 2
100%.
years. Now, 2022, things are finally opening up. You're going to see a double fold this summer and probably even next summer in weddings,
Oh my
more than
God.
before. Like how many Saturday, Sunday, Friday weddings?
Especially for
Or
us
before.
in the industry or in the demo we live in terms of geologically, like for us, summer is for us, wedding season is
Yeah.
basically 22 weeks. That is, and from April till about end of October, and that's it.
Mhm.
So everybody tries to squeeze in as many as possible within that 22 weeks, and we go ham. And now usually in a general year, it is busy. Every summer is busy, but in a year like this, it is absolutely nuts.
There's some date, like I don't think I've ever turned down so many people this summer.
Like we've turned
It's
down June
insane.
18th, June 25th, July
like
long weekend,
September-
August long weekend. It's nuts.
Like some of the dates were like hitting repeat. People were crazy about September 24th or August 6th or whatnot. So we saw a lot of actually Sunday bookings, a lot of Sunday bookings in Manitoba.
Fridays too.
Yeah. In the States, like further down in the States where the wedding industry is like huge, they have that. That is completely normal. But for Manitoba, like Canada, Manitoba, Westman, it's not normal.
And here that's the thing too. For downstates, below pretty much anything below Chicago, like they have year-round weddings. Like
Absolutely.
Texas, for example, Texas and Carolinas, like they have weddings almost year-round.
And they have the population to do Friday,
100%.
Saturday weddings, right?
Right.
But even so back to the inflation thing, your Friday, Saturday, Sunday weddings, and you think like, I had multiple people say, hey, anyone else you recommend? And I was giving them a list of photographers all in Westman, everyone that I know. And I said, good luck. Because I just know that date I've already been approached by 10 times.
Honestly,
by
at
10
this point
different
now, we
couples.
can't even refer to people because they're all
Yeah.
booked too. So when we tell referral to anybody, like they're like,
feel like
we're
I'm
booked,
just, like,
we're booked, we're
pushing
booked,
them
everybody's
off onto
booked.
somebody else. Okay, but pull up that slide for us again there. Okay, so yeah, high demand, staff shortages, supply chain issues.
So that's the massive venue cost. That's again, you're gonna expect this across all venues.
It doesn't matter which venue you go to, and even in Brandon alone, like what at least two new venues popped up, and
they were popped up middle of COVID too.
So you even think that's booked. So even when you're looking for somewhere to get married, and all these places are booking, then you opened up how many more options, and they're still booking. So that's that
unless
demand.
people want to start doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday weddings.
I'm in. I could use a good Wednesday. Okay, so rentals and decor, we're seeing anywhere from 25 to 35 overall
Jesus.
increase. So
And again, same thing, right? The products and the rental stuff that comes from certain places and supply chains. Again, these product stuff, everybody needs this product and everybody wants it when they want it. You can't make it fast enough.
well, think about it. our Brandon Manitobans or whatever, who can get a car right now? Brand new car, you want it, can't have it.
Anywhere.
There's like the car lots themselves are empty. So how's it
used cars are selling for almost as new for new cars?
It doesn't even make sense. So then when it comes back to decor, think about it. You want new chairs. They're trying to increase their supply. They weren't buying a lot during COVID because, like, rightfully so, the money wasn't coming in. So yeah, they aren't, they're spending more to get things faster. They're increasing, or there's so many weddings that they have to carry so much more to keep making them all look different, right?
And all of this is again made in only specific parts of the world too, like based on what kind of products you need and decor, fabrics, everything. Yeah. And so all of these places are going through the same supply chain issues, same labor shortages, same everything.
Well, so let's take a hot second and think about what happened in Canada, just like what it was a couple weeks ago, the convoy, right?
Yeah.
And so that alone, just those trucks not moving, how much that affected.
How much of the products are not being moved, right?
Not even being shipped.
And it's again,
my new computer.
Yeah.
I got an email, pushed me. Rhoni's been helping me get
a new computer.
Okay. Long story short, big story to it. Very frustrating process for me, but super excited about this new beast I ordered. They keep emailing me and pushing it back a month. And I'm getting heart palpitations over it. But anyway, so there you go. Supply chain issues.
Or it is, you think well, it's not going to affect me, but no, trust me, on the long run, it definitely affects everybody.
And then that increased lead time too, right?
Like on everything, right?
It's not just shipping, everything, right?
Everything. And labor costs on top of this again. You can't find them. And when you find them, now you have to pay them more to do anything. So now it already adds to the cost of everything again.
And you want to know something else too, when it comes to decor, I didn't think about this, just popped in my mind. I was actually talking to one of my clients the other day from her wedding last summer. She was saying how at one of the venues, they actually had to be out and cleaned up by 1 on their wedding day. And she didn't know that. So it kind of caught her off guard. Right. So she actually had to pay her decor company to come and clean up that night. Never heard of that, but I see why it's happening now, because they have a wedding the next day.
And you gotta have to get it going.
Needs to come in and set up.
So now that's extra cost that you got to think about.
I think it cost her like $800 extra that you wouldn't have thought.
See, because now your wedding day is done and now you're having a great time. It's almost about to wrap up. Then you got to think about cleaning up. So you're like, okay, I'm not going to think about cleanup, but I need to get this taken care of.
So you're hiring
someone else to do it.
Which wasn't really overly a thing, or they did it later on in the week. Right. But right now, because it's extra needs.
Yeah, 100%. A higher demand of the venues. So it's all interconnected. Yeah, it is so interconnected. The next slide.
Yeah, what's our next one? We were going to talk about
catering, I think. Next one.
Yeah, catering. We kind of touched about this, but
food.
It's 30% overall increase.
Your grocery store should give you a good idea of why food is expensive.
Yeah, like this everybody's not a hard one to think about, right?
It's not.
And then I think florals. Okay, florals. I heard about this all last summer.
Yeah.
Right?
Want to go to the next one again? There's florals in there. Yeah,
there you go. Okay, so florals, if you guys aren't, like, I'm not a massive flower person. I don't know anything about flowers whatsoever, but I did hear from like my favorite two florist that I'm like in love with, that actually came up quite a bit. They literally said, and as they're talking to brides, sorry, can't get that flower. Sorry, can't get that flower. Okay, like here's your options, and it's going to cost double because they just can't get it, and that's just the cost because of drought, flooding, everything. Like everything that basically happened last summer is affecting still, like these crops or these flower things are just still being affected.
And you think global warming doesn't affect you? Trust me, global warming definitely comes to you.
And then once again, what hits in there? Labor costs.
100%. Right? And everything requires people at some level. And when you don't have these people to do that, it definitely decimates. It's a domino effect. It affects everything around it.
Like food and flowers are a no-brainer. You definitely know that's going to go up just based on the industry and what's been going on with the crops, right?
And that's the crazy part. So this whole slide was from Ash and Oak Floral, and they just put this together. Yeah, based out of California. So they put this together, and I saw this on Shona's from Pinnacle. So Shona's Instagram, and then I was like, this is actually, we need to talk about this. And again, the solution for but I understand all of this is an issue, but how does a bride go around, or a groom and then a couple decide, how am I going to have my wedding?
Yeah,
if this
because
costs are
it's
so high.
probably, what would we say from like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, just before COVID to now? What would you say if you were just saying having like an average wedding? How much do you think it went up value wise?
Value wise,
I want to say like what?
let's say if you had a $25,000 to $35,000 wedding, and now you're expecting anywhere between 45 to 52.
Like at
Easy.
least a 10 grand jump.
100%
A $10,000 jump. I think so too. I just even remember like when I was more into the cost of things and understood it a little bit more. That's actually what I was actually saying to my partner today. I bet you it's like a $10,000 increase for sure over the last couple of years.
on average, right?
Yeah.
So now you add a couple things here, a couple things there. That's another 2,500 or 5,000 that goes up, right? Easy.
And you know what? Even from our side of the industry, we hadn't touched on photography and videography. Like looking at these things doesn't make me feel great. I'm not a huge fan of charging. I like value. I like charging for value,
100%.
but I don't like when people are wasting their money, but that's just how it is.
And again, even within our industry, which we didn't talk about too, right? So on the video, audio, and photo side of things, if we need to get an extra camera, not possible. We want to get an extra camera to, capture something that makes it a little more special.
So much more expensive.
It's not possible. It's the cost of the thing's gone up. Think about your camera. Like even you didn't get your camera for when you got the new one, R6.
Gosh.
That came
was like
out
4 weeks.
Yeah.
4 weeks when it was supposed to be 3 days.
It was supposed to be 3 days and came out 4 weeks later. They got the wrong camera, and then you had to spend it back and then get an whole other camera.
That is a touchy subject. The company knows who they are. Just joking. I was actually really good about it. I'm a big talker. I'm like, I'm going to tell them how I feel. Then I just don't. I'm like, okay, no problem. Neat.
It is
interesting. Have a good day.
and that's the thing. It's just every part of it where, let's say if we need more shooters to go out film weddings with us, we can't find them. There's no possibility. Same thing with assistants we need for stuff not possible to hire them.
You can't, or people just aren't available, or either they don't really want to work, right?
So it just there's shortages everywhere, and it's affecting, and on some level we have to
the fact that,
manage it, right?
Once again, I can't even get this computer, right? And I'm finding that the amount of weddings that we're even shooting this summer alone, right, Rhoni, that you need to increase on cameras, right? You need more guys. Your cost has went up. And then for myself, I'm increased 2 cameras in my bag and lenses and like backups. And
guess now more weddings are happening. That means more weddings we got to shoot. More weddings shooting means more cameras. More cameras means more editors.
Yeah.
More editors mean more computers. Across the entire level, there's going to be shortages that we're going to come across. It is crazy.
Well, that and too during the downtime, I was spending money. I was still buying stuff. And one of the things that across, as we get as ourselves in the wedding industry, getting more and more and more established and working harder and buying nicer equipment and, getting more training for ourselves and our team, prices go up. Every time you take a workshop, it's like $1,400 right 100%. There.
So in conclusion, what we're trying to say is it's not because we want to increase the price that prices are higher. It's because the state of the industry and the state of the world right now that's causing it. Yeah. But as a bride, as a groom, if you're planning your wedding and you're like, okay, I understand. This? How do I handle this?
Because the average person cannot afford a $50,000 wedding. Right? It's not realistic.
And it is not. And in a sense, where are you spending that money? And then you realize the guest count, right? Yeah. So how can we bring the guest count to a level where you want to have everybody you want to have, but it's not, Joe Blow from, the neighbor that you knew 20 years ago, right? So that sort of thing, you got to think about, okay, now you really hone in on your guest level. The less the guest, the less amount of tables, the less amount of food, the less amount of space, the less amount of...
And I mean, it all depends on how you played it, if you're served or you're not served, if you're having an open bar or not having an open bar. But generally, you can expect per head of guest to pay anywhere from $80 to $150.
Alcohol and food included, 100%. Right? So now, let's say if you put your costs of your wedding per guest, then you decide, okay, from decor to food to drinks to everything that you put together. Let's say a guest is costing you $150. Then let's think about how many guests you're getting, right?
Well, and this isn't mean or anything, but these past 2 years, if you've had the pleasure of attending a wedding, like this 40-person wedding, because due to COVID restrictions, did you get there and think this was really intimate? and I'm important to them. That's the feeling, like shooting those, that everybody in that room had. They felt the importance. One thing too, and it's just me, you know, that forever bridesmaid. Sorry.
Take a shot.
Yeah. Okay. Is that, you know, over experience, honest to God, like I would say that if you have over 100 and some people there, your day is not with, like, if you're the bride and you're the groom, you guys spend no time together. No time on your wedding day.
And
it's not even about you at that point.
No, and in a sense too, it's about realistically, we're going to talk about a timeline episode at some level, but on the timeline of the day, trust me, that day, all the vendors there are going to help you dictate how the day is going to roll. We're going to help you plan that much prior. And the reason being, we want to make sure that we deliver everything that we promised to deliver that day as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
So now when that's the case, your day is planned out. And in this day, I could tell you right now, there's a very little amount of time where it says, okay, now you
can interact with your guests. You can interact with your loved ones.
And that does not for 100 people. That is definitely not for 100 people.
But I found, okay, and I mean, I don't mean to scare anyone that's like, I'm having 120, my day's going to be awful. Absolutely not. The best parties come with a lot more people, right? Sometimes, but let's back it up. And I just want to let you know, these 40 people weddings, so much time. They got to hang out with everyone. They got to say hi to everyone. They weren't overwhelmed with people. And also they had a little bit more decorations, or they had things otherwise they might have not have been able to afford to.
100%. Right? And I think what we're trying to say at the end of the day is just trying to hone in on your amount of people that you want to spend. Yep. Like, forget everything else and figure out the people first. Mm-hmm. You know, these are the Create people I want.
Start your budget with your people.
These are the people I want at my wedding, no matter what. The wedding's not happening if these people are not there. Perfect.
And then have
that list and then have, okay, these are the people that I would like to have, but if they're not there, it's not the end of the world.
Absolutely.
So then you have 2 lists you can work with. Now, do the cost for the first list, do the cost for the second list, included the second list. Now you think, okay, so with these amount of people, let it be 50, 100, 150, 200, doesn't matter. Then you decide, okay, if I have 100 people, this is the cost. If I have 80 people, this is the cost. If I have 150 people, this is the cost. So it gives you a broken down version of pros and cons and costs across the board. Then your decision is yours, right? So basically what we're trying to say is
your budget with, and then you decide what you want to include. If decor is really important to you, then spend your money there. If video and photography are really important to you, if the food's really important to you, you know, I always say to people, huge thing, and if I have any friends get engaged, pick one thing that's super important to you. Is it the people? Is it the open bar? Is it the music? Is it the photos? Is it the video? What is it that, you know, in your mind you pictured would make your day great? And don't sacrifice that. Get what you want for that. But then you have to give a little bit on everything else. You can't have it all. It's like building a house.
Hey, if you have the budget, please be my guest.
Yeah, go for it. Invite me.
We're in. But again, this is for the majority, 99% that want to have a great wedding and a phenomenal wedding. But again, I'll break the bank, right?
Well, also too, like if you've ever been a part of anything where the person's like financially stressed over this, I don't really think they enjoy their day. I really don't. I honestly think that they get a little bit more worked up, like just from my end of things of seeing brides and grooms. If they're financially stressed over just holding an event for one day, it wasn't a smart move for them because...
Just elope, man. Just have a phenomenal wedding of the two of you. Honestly, trust me, they are so beautiful. And if anything, the COVID times have shown us how beautiful intimate weddings are.
Ooh, and you have so much time for pictures.
Time and then you don't have to worry about the finances.
Yeah.
You just have everything and it's beautiful, right? But again, it comes down to priorities. What you want to prioritize and what you want is absolutely key.
But like I said, you start the process, you get engaged. My number one piece of advice is each groom and bride sit down and say, what do you want? You get your one thing, I get my one thing, and then you build your budget off your people and go from there. Because I mean, this is supposed to be a really happy time, and the costs are going up, which is unfortunate. And I mean, it's just it'll stagnate
at some point. But I can tell you between the 2023, which is 2022, 2023,
absolutely,
to 2025, it's gonna feel the effects all the way there. But.
Yeah. No, and you guys, if you ever have any questions about that or anything like that, always reach out. There's enough people in the industry that have answers for you and can help you out
And
and
again,
guide you.
we're all there's a team of people that show up to take care of your wedding day. So every one of us knows what we're going through, what's happening, and we can easily
Absolutely.
make that
And I
work.
think like even with these rising costs, like we all understand, we're all mindful of it, and it is the way that it is, but we all try to squeeze as much value into what we're doing for you because of it, right? So
Yeah, but no, that was a good episode. That was good stuff.
absolutely.
I think
I
we
think
talked
we're
about good stuff.
forgetting one thing.
Yeah.
Mark Willis. Sorry. I just had to. He's sponsoring this. Just joking.
Wait, Mark. If Willis, we need to get him. Like
He said he would come. And
Yeah.
you know what? I think Finney's into the other Mark.
100%,
right?
the other Mark.
Other Mark.
I should save his name on my phone as the other Mark.
I know. Okay, so
I don't know. This is 4 episodes of continuous mention of Mark Willis and Finney. We're gonna keep mentioning them until 1, they start
Shows
sponsoring
up.
the wedding, or 2,
Shows
show
up.
up to record a podcast.
They said they would. We just need to set it up.
We just need 2 more mics and
Yeah,
we
I
gotta
know.
set it up here. But
Cute.
no.
Well, you guys, thank you for tuning in on my end here.
100%, and thank you for listening to episode 4 of For the Record podcast. Thank you so much. We got to tell them to subscribe and follow because that's what the Googles and everybody said. If you want people to listen to it, you got to tell them to subscribe. So please subscribe and follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Would love it. And if you have any topics for us you want us to talk about,
Yeah, absolutely.
like that,
Let us
we're
know.
always looking for topics to talk about. We're always come up with it. Like last night, Danielle just DMs me about a topic and we're talking about it. So would love to chat about it. And if you're planning a wedding, absolutely. But yeah, follow us on Instagram, Trident Films, Trident Music, Danielle Palladic Photography. But thank you guys for listening. Catch you on the next one.
See ya.